Welcome to Norrice Lea TV, Season 2, Episode 8. Episode 8 we're up to already. Now you may have heard in the news that the school's closing down.
Unfortunately, I don't know why. I
think it's because of the global pandemic gone around the world.
You'd think. But they're letting the schools stay open.
Schools stay open, but I tell you, I'll be honest with you, the first thing that came to mind, genuinely, I was so upset for those families who are making bar mitzvah over the next 4 weeks. And of course for those members who are saying Kaddish.
Yeah, 100%, right.
And you know, these poor boys, they spent a year and a half learning their Sedra and they won't be getting to do it on the actual week. But we've been quite creative here, so there's you know, we've got until Thursday till it locks down, so we're doing various services before then where the boys can get to lane and it can be zoomed and videoed, etc. And also one of the boys on Thursday morning is in JFS, so he'll get an Aliyah there because the schools are still open.
There you go.
Yeah, but they won't allow outsiders in, so even the dad can't go.
Wow, that's...
But that's something to tell his grandchildren.
No,
my father didn't come to my bar mitzvah. It's sad, really.
It is very sad because, you know, we took amazing measures here, you know, with our masks.
We've done everything. We've had no problems in the shul.
And yeah, there haven't been any cases. So, you know, not to question the government, but, you know, to question the government. But anyway, we have to
do what we've got to do to curb
and be safe and ensure that indeed this is hopefully going to help reduce the numbers and overall, and we do what we can. So we're going to, you know, we continued on with Norrice Lea TV, and so we're going to go online.
Yeah, and most of our shiurim, the ones that I'm doing and Rabbi Friedman's doing, are anyway online.
Right.
There's loads of learning online. Do get in touch with us, anyone at the shul, if you want to do. We have everything. We've got Hebrew reading, we've got advanced Gemara, we've got whatever you think of, philosophy, classical thoughts, whatever you want.
Navigating Siddur.
Siddur, the works. There's a lot happening. I don't think we're going to
we were trying, we were going to, you know, with the situation, we were going to try to bring the shiurim back in shul.
That was the plan, but
that was the plan. But then everything shut down.
Gone in the wrong direction.
And I think it's a great message, you know, that I think people are trying. You know, when you get an obstacle suddenly in your way, and what am I going to do? How am I going to react? Right? Things are out of control. It's a question of how we react. That's what we can control.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do with it. So
we plan. God has other plans.
That's right.
And we adjust.
We have to make the best of it. So we're
Not
gonna.
Easy. And many of you out there who are really struggling with this. Not easy, but of course we are here to help and support. But coming up in tonight's episode, Rabbi Friedman will be interviewing PC Daniel Morris to discuss about the fact, you know, that they reduced the recruitment age for police officers to age 17. Imagine being arrested by a 17-year-old.
So I don't think they
can
actually
happen.
Right, but I don't think they can actually be a police officer. They just start recruiting, so they started at 18, now they're recruiting at 17. But let's go over to Rabbi Friedman and Constable Morris to hear more about that.
Shalom, PC Daniel Morris. What an honor to have you here on Norrice Lea TV.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And I have to say, when I was looking into doing this interview, I said, well, I know he's an Orthodox Jew, an Orthodox police constable, but how do I get hold of him? So I put it out on the rabbinic WhatsApp of all the rabbis in the UK, and sure enough, I says, you know, who has PC Morris's contact details? And sure enough, Rabbi Nikki Liss, now president or chair of the Rabbinical Council of the United Synagogue, shoots back and he says, yes, of course I know PC Morris. He was my madrich in Bnei Akiva.
That's right. And also Daniel Epstein, Rabbi Daniel Epstein as well, another one.
Oh, also a chanich of yours. Oh, wow. Okay. And Mazel Tov to Rabbi Epstein are now moving to Marble Arch.
Fantastic. Yes, he should. Very, very good appointment. And it's a shame for Cobb Fosters and Southgate, but yeah, Mazel Tov to him.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us today. What prompted my interest in this interview was the report that the police recruitment age was being reduced to 17. And I know sometimes, you know, the way reporters get hold of things, it becomes a little storm in a teacup. But then looking into a little further, I see that you are part of police recruitment. So let's start with that. What has prompted this new reduced age of finding police officers?
Nationally, the police want to recruit 20,000 police officers. Now that's a lot of police officers. In the Met, we want to recruit thousands of police officers ourselves, and there's money to do it, so we're doing it, so we're recruiting.
Excellent.
Unfortunately, it's not always easy to recruit people. So, and even when we recruit them, they've got to go through stringent testing to make sure that they're appropriate and their vetting is okay. And in order to encourage people of different ages, what they've done is they've reduced the age to apply down to 17, and you could possibly start some of the training before you're 18, but you would not be going on the streets before you're 18. So right. the recruitment is focused at some of the sixth formers leaving school, so that they can consider it and have them ready for when they actually come through to their 18th birthday.
And then by the time they're 18, they're all ready to join 21 Jump Street. Do you do that kind of thing?
We don't have 21 Jump Street, but yeah, they're ready to join and then go through the recruitment process of a few weeks of studying, depending on which recruitment line they go through, if they go to university or whether they go straight to police training. People are tending to go towards university at the moment and do a course over in university, but they could also do a degree program as well. So there's various different avenues of recruitment which you can find on the Met Careers, Met Police Careers. And if this goes nationally, there's also national recruitment opportunities.
I have to say a huge yasher koach to you all looking after us this year. This hasn't been an easy year for anyone, but I know particularly for the police, not just in terms of the incredible work that you've done, but some of the issues that you've had to deal with psychologically and in terms of just the ill treatment that the police have received this year in greater measure than in previous years. Tell us about some of the challenges between COVID and then spillover from America that the police have been dealing with this year, and how you're getting through it all.
The police, I think, tend to get told to do something, and we have to make it happen. The government makes a rule, and we try to make it happen. And the challenges around COVID have been so immense. To start with, we had to try and prevent people from mixing in public, and there was a lockdown. And everyone had their rules kept changing, and recently the rules are changing even more. And we have to keep up to date with the rules and make sure everything's appropriate. Most people keep the rules. Most people are fine with the rules, but then there's genuine reasons why people want to go out. They're so fed up inside. They don't care about themselves anymore. They just want to get out and meet people, exercising, taking dogs for walks, shopping. People thinking they've got essential jobs or key workers when they're not really key workers, or maybe they are key workers and they think need to go out. There's all sorts of different rules we got to all sorts of explanations why people will want to go out. Also, we've got to work out a way to deal with it. We can't just go around arresting everybody for being outside or not wearing a mask or something. So we have a system to educate someone and then to encourage them, and then eventually, if we really need to, we could arrest them and enforce it, because some people just are intent on deliberately causing problems and deliberately hurting other people. Because that's just the way they are.
Wow, and tell us about some of the psychological issues that how the police have been dealing with, really the unfair treatment, even from many in the media, let alone social media. You do such an incredible selfless job for us, and then to have all of these people treating you really awfully. Tell us about what's going on behind closed doors, how the morale is.
That's the job. I mean, we constantly get treated atrociously. Members of the public don't have as much respect for the police as they might have done in the past. They'd have respect for each other as they used to have in the past. It goes with the job. I mean, at the moment it might be coming out in the public because you see things on the news, and how people are fighting the police on the news. But in the job, you come across three groups of people. You come across informants and victims and suspects, and you have to deal with what you've got. And sometimes the victims themselves are very hostile towards you. The suspects are sometimes very hostile towards you. And sometimes you may even have an informant who's called the police who doesn't really want to, but they've had to. And you roll with what you get. And it's just the job of being a police. The morale is up and down. I mean, it's difficult being a police officer. There's lots of challenges in the morale, but we keep it together, and we support each other, and we raise morale as much as we can. And occasionally there's necessity to seek some of the support agencies, and there's over a dozen ways of getting support within the police if you need it. Professional and peer support, and staff associations and federation and chaplaincies. There's lots of ways that you can get support if you need to. So morale is generally okay, but it's challenge. And I say this to anyone who's watching that feels they don't like their job in the police, or they don't want the job in the police. And in fact, in any career, any particular career, but particularly in the police, is if you don't, rather than not liking your job, perhaps you don't like your role. If you're working in a school, you hate the school, you hate the school, you hate your job. Maybe you don't like teaching. Maybe you want to be an administrator. So I think that's something I'm very careful to tell the new recruits, because I'm involved in the teaching of new recruits as well as on frontline policing. I remind them that if your morale's going down, if you're feeling low, and you don't like the police, you don't want to be a police officer, then just consider that maybe you don't like the role of frontline policing. Maybe you don't like the role of investigating certain crimes or detective work. And look at changing the role before changing the career.
Oh, that's very powerful. Thank you. And like you say, powerful really for across industries. I think one of the things that's most striking that really responds to the narrative that was coming out of certain places earlier this year, that the police have issues with minorities. You are a shining example as an Orthodox Jew of the police embracing minorities. Tell our viewers a little about what it's like to be an Orthodox Jew and a police constable, how you came to where you are today, and whether there are challenges, what the challenges are, and how you deal with them.
Okay, quick whistle-top story about me and then how I came to the police. I was very involved in Bnei Akiva growing up, worked for Bnei Akiva for a year. It taught me a huge amount of hadracha, youth leadership, and skills for life. I then went traveling around the world. I worked a bit of informal education in different places, America. I helped organize some ACE trips to Australia and Hong Kong. I did a bike ride across America with a marvelous charity called Hazon, H-A-Z-O-N. Look it up. It's an American charity, does a lot of bike rides. And worked a lot did a bit of bits and pieces for ACE UK, which is now the Jewish Futures Trust. Then I started volunteering for the London Ambulance Service, set up Barnet Community First Responders, and at the same time became a special for the London Police, Metropolitan Police, and that's a voluntary role as well. So I was volunteering as a medic for the ambulance service, going to emergency calls, and at the same time doing the voluntary police work. I had to decide which route I wanted to go into, whether the ambulance or the police, and decided there's more opportunity for career development in the police, so decided to go for the police. So being the only, well, not the only, being one of very few Orthodox Dutty Jews in the police, decided to go full time. Managed to get posted to the Enfield area. When I got posted to the Enfield area, I said to them, you know, I keep Shabbat and I want to make sure that it's understood that I'm going to need to change my roster. And I got in touch with the Jewish Police Association, and they were helping me, but a lot of the work you do yourselves. And they said, yes, that's fine. Okay, we're prepared for you. When you come, we'll organize your roster. I said, oh, by the way, could I ask for a different shoulder number? So we get particular shoulder numbers, and they've given me, I don't know, 428 or something. So I said, could I have a different shoulder number? Could I have 613? So they said, yes, yes, that's available. Why do you want 613? Because it's actually 613D form is a destroy on division form, and so people don't really want 613. But, oh, it's a special number for me, so I kept 613 house. Now I'm 613 in learning and development. So it's a special
Wow.
number. It's very clever. And sometimes when we go to calls and there's an Orthodox Jew there, I say, yeah, I've got a 613 now. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Can I take a photo? It's very funny. So got involved and went through my probational period. Then I got more and more involved in the Jewish Police Association and more involved in the diversity and equality impact assessment groups around the country. And with the recruitment uplift, they were very keen to recruit BAME and people with protected characteristics to show a representation of the people in the country. So been working a little bit of recruitment there as well. And I attend meetings to discuss different things that involve religion and faith around the country, together with some other people. And that's what I've been doing in the police. I'm now teaching new recruits and helping them go on the streets and coordinating the new learners and take people out on their very first visits on the streets. And I have to say, we've got a bunch of Orthodox Jewish adults coming to join the police. Not all males, some are male, and they've got 2 or 3 female probationers going through at the moment who also take time off for Shabbat, and we help them arrange their rosters. And it's difficult because if your group's doing a shift, you want to carry on with that group, but they'll alternate their shifts. So sometimes a Jewish officer may have to do 4 night duties, have the day off, then start an early term at 7 o'clock in the morning or something, which can be very difficult and challenging for their body clock.
But there must be all sorts of pikuach nefesh issues. You must have, the London Beth must. Are you in conversation about when you may be at work on Shabbos and when you might not be?
I'll be honest with you. So little of our work is actually pikuach nefesh. Yes, I've attended scenes. I've rushed to calls and I've put a defibrillator on someone as a police officer, and I've started the first aid staff and help people with emergency life support. But the ambulance will come almost immediately, or the fire brigade will come almost immediately. We'll withdraw. We'll do our bit. We'll start doing the crime investigations and the controlling the public. So little of our work is actually pikuach nefesh that there isn't really an ability for us to say that it's
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's very honest, obviously. Thank you. So tell us. I'm sure any community has its challenges in terms of relations, police relations. Tell us about some of the things that we, as a Jewish community, do well as far as the police are concerned, and maybe some things we could be doing better.
I think the Jewish community is outstandingly set up with charities and trusts and organisations to voluntarily take care of the community. As far as the police are concerned, the CST, Shomrim, Casper, these are security organisations which outstandingly do a lot of the work that the Jewish Police Association might have to do in the coordination of events and things. They do a lot of security work, a lot of counter-terrorism work. The CST, as we know, is extremely well organised, and that's something the Jewish community do better than any other. Yes, there are other groups that help and do things, but the professional security is great. And then we've got all the charities. I was at an event over a year ago now for domestic abuse and domestic violence, which we got the Jewish Women's Aid in to assist with some talks as to how the community can do it ourselves and how we can help our own community ourselves. So that's just a couple of them, and we've got Jamie who does mental health, and we've got Norwood who do children's care, and we've got all the different charities that look after the elderly and the poor and the needy, and it's an honour to be part of it. And one of the things that I've been doing and working on at the moment is a little induction into Judaism for officers who patrol Jewish areas, so that they can understand it. And I put a question in this little survey. They very quick sort of research they do, then we go and visit a shul or whatever. And a very one of the questions I put in is list I think 20 Jewish charities, and they'll go online and they'll look Jewish charities and they'll put that into Google or search engine, and they'll come up with a list of 20 different charities. Wow, you've got a charity for this, a charity for that, and a charity for this. And it's such an honor. I'm not saying the other religions don't have this or the faiths don't have this, but we are so well organized, and there is always someone to go to if necessary. And it works internationally. I have to say it works internationally. There was an investigation that was spreading into Israel and into America and parts of Europe, and they were concerned about the victim in one of these countries. And I was sort of involved in the education side of the investigation as to prevention. And they were so concerned about them. So I managed to put them in touch with an organization, a charity in that country, in that city, that was able to connect with the police and had the establishment in order to help them. And in fact, it became very, very helpful to know that this victim was being looked after, and we could pass it on through the Jewish community, and then the police had the connection. So it's really, really, really helpful. So I think as far as things we do well is the charity work, is the committee work, is the voluntary work, and it provides a huge service to the police and to the community. And it's real, you're an honor. It's an honor to be representing that.
Excellent, excellent. Well, next time you do have your police tour of young recruits of a shul, you are welcome to come to Hampstead Garden Suburb Synagogue. We would love to host the police there. But meanwhile, thank you so much for everything you do, and all of the police constables across the country, well, especially across the Met. Thank you, PC Morris, for joining us today, and wish you only hatzlacha in every aspect of your work. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, that was interesting.
It was.
You know, to find an Orthodox Jew as a police officer, and
I think it's a Kiddush Hashem.
And to hear that, you know, it seems like there is more in demand. More Jews are stepping up.
Yeah, and there's more opportunities. I meant today we need a police force.
So that's great. That's great. You know, do what we can here.
So thank you. And in fact, we had him at the Bar Mitzvah program last year, who spoke about navigating his Orthodox Jewish life whilst being a police constable as well. And that was a very inspirational message to our boys here at the shul. So that was very inspirational.
Oh, very nice.
And the boys asked him questions like, what do you do Friday night when you get a call out? And he spoke about it.
And if he carries a gun.
Yeah,
they're
all excited about the gun.
Right.
Have you got a gun?
Right. That's the first question.
Yeah.
So this week we also have very special, you know, in November 15th is our Mitzvah Day, right? It's coming up.
Yeah, online this year.
And yeah, you know.
You know what? You can do lots of mitzvahs online.
Well, you know what? Mitzvah, you know, every day is Mitzvah Day, right? It's like Mother's Day, right?
Yeah, I know.
It's like, but they have to mark
Father's
it.
Day.
Father's Day and Grandfather's Day and Grandparents' Day and aunts and uncles. But at the end of the day, there's a beautiful concept of Mitzvah Day that, you know, to make awareness about that we have mitzvahs and that we have to, you know, spread the good deeds not only to our Jewish community but to the general community. And so I interviewed Sarah Callman, who started it here in Norrice Lea. So let's hear more about that.
Welcome to Norrice Lea TV, Sarah Callman.
Thank you very much.
If anybody knows you, they equate you with Mitzvah Day lady. Really amazing. So we have Mitzvah Day coming up on November 15th. And tell us, how did you get involved in it? How did it all start?
Well, I got involved because a friend of mine was involved in setting up Mitzvah Day internationally. And the first year, that was almost, well, we've been involved 10 years, but so it must have been 11 years ago. He said, he explained what Mitzvah Day was. He said it was a day of social action that was designed for people to come together, giving their time, not their money, for the benefit of the community, and to work within the Jewish community, but also to work with non-Jewish charities in the community for the benefit of everybody. And it sounded like a fantastic idea. So at the time, I remember going to Rabbi Knopf and saying, Rabbi Knopf, it's amazing, you know, what are Norrice Lea Synagogue going to do for Mitzvah Day? And he turned around and said, that's a very good question. what are you going to do about Mitzvah Day? And I thought, okay, fair enough. So I put my mitzvahs where my mouth was, and 10 years later, we are still doing Mitzvah Day. I have to say, I've got an amazing bunch of women who are supporting me on the committee. So I'm certainly not taking any credit for Mitzvah Day, but here we are 10 years down the line. And
amazing. So how is Norrice Lea involved with Mitzvah Day?
So normally we're very lucky. We work in the Max Weinbaum Hall, and we work with the Hader. So we get our lovely kids coming down and getting involved in all sorts of activities. So could be making sandwiches or packing care packages for the homeless or for asylum seekers. We work with Camp Simcha, wrapping presents for the kids in hospitals. We, what else do we do? We do dental packages. There's a lady who comes in and packs dental packages for the townships in South Africa. We have been painting mugs that go down to the homeless that they use when they have their meals down there. All sorts. That's just a few examples, but we do all sorts of things. A big shopping collection outside Waitrose and M&S, which is always really successful, and they have an amazing team run by Jeremy. And,
the partnership there, absolutely.
But the food goes to Gift and to the Barnet Refugee Centre, also goes to the homeless shelter, which is based in the Baptist Church in Muswell Hill. So we have very good links with a lot of local charities.
And the youth are also involved, right? With they help out. I think they have stand out in Beckham's, right? Traditionally, at the local store there.
Yes. So the BAT group, they're fantastic, and they have been doing their collections. They're sort of the junior arm of the shopathon. So they are absolutely wonderful, and they stand outside Beckham's, and in the past they've also were in Tesco's in Highgate Village. So yeah, we've spread our net quite wide. And so if you're shopping on Sunday, the 15th of November, the chances are that you'll see somebody from the Mitzvah Day Hampton Guard suburb team.
Right, absolutely. So, we're definitely in a different year this year. How is Mitzvah Day dealing with it? Is it going to be different? How does it look? What are the limitations? I can imagine it's COVID has affected so many in so many different ways.
Yes, well, yes, that's right. It has, but we're determined to keep going and to do what we can. So, unfortunately, we won't be able to use the Max Weinbaum Hall this year. So the activities will be different and more limited. But we figured that that collections, people, I'm sure, being much more housebound, will know what they have in their house much better than perhaps in previous years. So we have been speaking to various charities, and there are a lot of charities who are very, very keen for our support. And there's an asylum seeker charity who is looking for bicycles, and they can then give them to asylum seekers who find them very useful to get about, to try to find work. They can take bicycles of any type, kids, adults. They can use them for parts if they're not in very good condition. So bicycles are a big thing. We're looking for toiletries, for stationery, for jewellery, costume jewellery, makeup. It doesn't have to be new, that go to Israel, and also to Goods for Good, which David Slagle will talk to you more about in a future session. And also we're looking at various other things, toys for Camp Simcha, and also for the asylum seekers, glasses, which will go to World Vision. What else have I got on my list? Food. Yes, that's a big push for food for the food bank. Naomi Russell, amazing Naomi Russell, who's HGSS member, is running a food bank for North London, I think, for the entire area. So please donate any food for her, and we will pass that on. And we've also got winter coats. Mustn't forget winter coats for goods for goods against asylum seekers, both here and also I think they're collecting for World Jewish Relief as well. And then some activities. We've got flyer drop for the food bank, which involves people, if they've got half an hour to spare, just walking in their local area and dropping flyers around through the door, just to raise awareness. And then we've got tie-dye masks, which are which would be a great activity for, particularly if you've got kids at home. That's something, again, that Alison Martin will expand on next week, and I know there's a video to show you exactly how to do that. And then litter picking for probably, if you've got a dog, you'll appreciate this even more, wandering around the parks. It's something that we can give you a litter picking grabber machine and some bags, and whatever time you can spare, we'd love you to get involved and turn the local area a bit more green and friendly, so and litter free. So those are some of the activities we've got, and they work within the COVID restrictions.
Right. Well, it's amazing, really. You know, considering the situation that we're in, you know, we know that, you know, like you mentioned, you know, Russell is absolutely, you know, from day one, recognized the need for food and started up that food bank, and it grew tremendously, for better or for worse, you know, and really the people came out and came out for that. So to be able to see, you know, that this is not going to stop us, and that they're able to expand and do so much more in a COVID-friendly way. You know, it seems like there's a lot of collections going on, but even I'm sure it'll be fun for the kids to use those picker-upper things, you know, to clean up the. I mean, that's something different, right? I mean, that we never did before for Mitzvah Day, right? So that's a new activity.
Absolutely.
Right. So Yasher Koach for being innovative and creative in a situation like this, and giving people opportunity to do good. I mean, I guess that's really the message for Mitzvah Day, right? It's to spread goodness, to spread, really be a light onto the nation, not only within our community, but beyond, right? We're beyond the general community, as you mentioned, the different charities that we're donating to. So Yasher Koach.
Thank you. Absolutely. Just to say that Hampstead Suburb Synagogue, I think it was 10 years ago, actually won the Interfaith Award. So so we do a lot of work with the local community, not obviously with the Jewish community, but also we extend into the wider community as well. Right. So so we're very keen to do what we can, and if anyone wants to be involved or has anything for us in terms of those collections, or is keen to get involved in the activities, then there is a flyer going around, but it's probably easiest to email me on Sarah Callman 1010@gmail.com, or perhaps through the shul. I don't know whether they can get my details through the synagogue.
Well, we'll have it right here coming up on the screen for people to copy and post an email for any questions or anything, for any more details. And we'll have a flyer as well, and hopefully the volunteers will come out. And like you said, you know, they've been indoors, they've been gathering, cleaning out their homes, and hopefully we'll be able to you'll get quite a few items that people would benefit from.
That would be amazing. Anything, we're grateful for all donations, so whatever anyone can spare.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us, and Yasher Koach. And I'm sure our viewers will listen to this and be able to help out in any way they can.
Well, thank you for having me on. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, so wow, you know, it is quite different this year.
It is.
You know, we can't be in the show making sandwiches and with the Olive Center, so there's going to be a lot of drop-offs.
And yet more necessary this year as well.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
think it's across the country. I think up north, the community in Newcastle, they were doing these packs for the homeless, you know, basic sanitation, things like that. They were giving out free gifts, and it's across the country. People are doing this. So this year's slightly different, but I think more necessary. So I'll come on to them.
For sure. So I think the littering can only be now with the new regulations. You can only, you know, if you're going to go pick up litter, litters, which is a new thing that they're doing this year to help clean up the city,
And that's
the
a mitzvah.
suburb. Yeah, it's a mitzvah to do it within households. You can only do that. And what's special also is that as masks. So now we have you can tie-dye a mask at home with your kid, and then donate it to the refuge center. And we have actually Danny Moses shows us how it's done. It's very easy. So here's a little clip on how to tie-dye your own mask.
שיבחו והודו לשמו ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם ראו בנים את גבורתו שיבחו והודו לשמו ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה בני ישראל לחנו שירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו חולה משה בני ישראל לחנו שירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו חולה
Looks like fun. I'm gonna go get one for my kids.
I want to do it. I'll do it with the kids.
Yes, we have to order them. Email Allison. You'll be able to make it, and then it's really 24 hours, and you drop it off on Mitzvah Day on November 15th. And if we get into more lockdown by then, and there are restrictions as to what we can drop off, then there is a February that looking at another date to have another Mitzvah Day. But meanwhile, there's so many mitzvahs that we can do.
Of course.
Like we said, even though the shul is shutting down, we have, al-shlosha devarim ha'olam omed, right? We have three things that the world stands.
We can still pray, we can still study Torah, and we can still do chesed.
That's right, kindness.
Mitzvah Day predominantly focuses on the chesed part and what we do between each other.
Right. And I think now we're going into lockdown, we're going to see a lot of that coming out once again, how they did it the first time around. And so we will, I'm sure, be there for everybody, because that's what we do here at Norrice Lea.
We do.
Great community. So may we come out of this even stronger.
Even stronger.
United.
We
wish you a wonderful week ahead, and may we be back very soon together physically, and so we can pray.
Amen. And even if we're not back together physically, because I know so many of you haven't returned since we reopened, but I think what we've learned is, and I said this right at the beginning, that the strength of our community reaches far beyond the physical four walls of the shul. Right? It's not just a shul, a place of prayer, we're a community. And we hope to have reached out to all of you. If you feel there is somebody who could do with a bit of attention from the shul, from the office, from the rabbinic team, just get in touch.
Or even if it's yourself that we haven't.
Let us know, because that's what we're here for.
Just give us a call, and hopefully we'll see you very soon. If not, we'll be online for the time being. And this is goodbye from me.
And goodbye from her.